Welcome everybody to Strasbourg. Steve for another video and Newcastle Fans TV Extra. Welcome everybody today. I got my boy, one of my favorite content creators in the business. You know what I'm saying? That
Appreciate it.
Man City fan, one of my guys. Good dude. We were just chatting backstage, but look,
You've been about for a minute as well. I remember.
yeah,
Where would I have come? So I first recognized you in the comments. Was it a gal? Maybe a gal. I don't know.
I've been
On a
on his
channel.
channel a few times.
But
Yeah,
then
probably there.
you were often active in the comments, and
Paris.
then obviously on Never a Foul. Yeah, Football Terrace, in fact. But then on Never a Foul, then when you came on, I'm like,
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know where Strasbourg is. Is it Austria?
France.
Is
Northeast
it
of France. Yeah.
Is it really? All right. So you know what? I never knew that. I'm not clever, by the way.
You're not clear. That's all right. But yeah, I support Strasbourg on my French team because my great grandparents are from the region, Alsace-Lorraine.
Okay.
So
You watched Napoleon yet?
What?
Have you watched Napoleon, the film yet? I watched it last night. I'm just asking a random question.
All I watch is football, so I haven't.
Oh, you don't? Bro, I've recently started to go back to just having me time watching series, like
Bears.
To switch off from everything. Bro, it's helping me. Like deleted YouTube Studio, don't read comments, and just focus on talking football.
Facts.
And then when I'm not talking football, I'm watching it or I'm watching something else or doing life. I'm not trying to live YouTube as much because it's toxic, bro.
It can get a bit hectic, but thanks for taking some time.
Always. I've been waiting to come on. So
yeah, so it's a pleasure.
It's mad. So you live in
likes people. Go on.
Yeah, smash a like and subscribe. Where do you live?
Exeter, New Hampshire, in the northeast of America.
You support. So you're from. Let's just shrink where you're from. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're from America.
Born in Chicago. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I can see the Chicago in you still. But then, for football, you're like, right. I like football. I like soccer. I'm gonna support 2 European teams, and I'm going to go with Strasbourg and Newcastle. Well,
Lazio too.
If Strasbourg ever get big, and who else?
Lazio. There are a few teams.
So if Lazio, Strasbourg, or Newcastle ever start winning everything, don't allow anyone to ever tell you are a Glory supporter, bro, because you are not a Glory supporter. That is a mad. Lazio used to. It was Gaza played.
Yeah. Gaza, Inzaghi, Nesta.
Nesta, what a player he was.
Almeida, Varane. I mean, Jesus.
Okay, so there it is. But Newcastle, yeah, okay.
I've been supporting Newcastle since 17-18. Rafa's last year. So I was
you missed out on I'm going to say our generation broadly. Like
the 90s Newcastle.
Yeah. The Shearer.
I'm only 23 though.
Yeah. So. Yeah, there you go. But so you missed out on that, to be fair. But do you know what? On TalkSport, they were I can't remember who it was. There was an ex-player on, and he was talking about Shearer, and he was comparing Shearer to it was a conversation about Desailly.
Marcel Desailly.
Whoever this player was used to play with Shearer, right? Mm-hmm. And Desailly came up. He said, "Yeah, everyone talks like he's one of the best defenders the Premier League's ever seen." He said, "I will never see it that way because I remember when Shearer absolutely bullied him, pinned him, turned around, put it top bins, and it's like everyone forgets how good Shearer was. You know, even me.
Oh my God!
Like this." He's the top goal scorer for a reason. And everyone looks at it and goes, "Oh yeah, but he wasn't that good apart from his goals." Go back and watch Shearer's goals. Yeah, Shearer's goal. Everyone presumes
outside of the box, phenomenal.
Everyone presumes it's either banging headers, or like a natural forwards goal. Nah. Shearer was scoring goals that was competing with Letitia, Yeboah, Esprilia, like them. Bangers from outside, like things that we rarely see on Match of the Day anymore.
Yeah,
like real bangers. We do disrespect as a nation. We disrespect Shearer a little bit. I don't know why it is, but maybe not winning the league. No, he won the league with Blackburn.
Blackburn Rovers in 92 or something, 93.
It was March. No, sorry, it was May the 25th, I believe, 1995. Because I always remember it. It was the most I ever celebrated at Main Road because Blackburn won the league and United didn't.
There you go.
And I always remember. I've got the program in there. We lost to Queens Park Rangers
when they were in the Premier League. It's been a minute since they were in it, but
yeah. So my choice though. But now you're just waiting, patiently waiting to live that high life.
Yeah, man. And that's fine by me. We'll get into both sides of it. I'll start off with you though, in terms of the City side of things. I just want to start off with the whole basic premise of that 1-7 run where you only had 1 win in 7 and people were freaking out. And I wasn't one of them because I was. You were? Wait, really?
Yeah. You know what? Right. So
you kind of played it down a little bit.
Bro, there's certain shows. You know what it was, right? I wasn't at That's It Pep. I will never, ever like criticize the players too much, Pep, because I remember right. So I grew up with City were really bad, yeah, and it was just. It's mad because I look back as such an enjoyable time with my dad. It was minging. Like, it was just, I remember cold, wet weather. I remember like moaning constantly, but just acceptance that we were shit. And there's this chant that we sing. If you ever hear, when City are drawing and it's about the 60th minute, you'll start hearing, "Come on, City." It's the most negative chant. And Liverpool have one that I heard the other night. It's this old school, we're trying to get behind them, but it's so negative that it doesn't work. When I hear that now, I'm like, oh, don't take me back to them days. And Champions League final, I had some guys stood behind me in the ground that were the same age as my dad. And they started moaning about loads of players. And I was stood there thinking, do you know what? Be grateful for everything. Like, you are my dad's age. You have seen everything we've seen since 2008, yeah? For you to moan at any of this squad about anything because they have one game, which is high pressure, that they look a bit nervous in, is just ungrateful.
And that Inter played well in.
Oh,
handled the occasion well.
They've won it before. They've been there. I would say Inter know how to play in big games. They've got more experience in big games than City. And furthermore, I do think the football gods that we always talk about, they do exist, right? And they watch what we did to Bayern. They watch what we did to Leipzig at home. They watch what we did to Real Madrid. And they said, you know what? If you try and play football against this City team, they know what they're doing. We have to give them one last test before they're allowed to put their hands on that big ear. And that is the shithousery, organised, and I always say that in hindsight now, although it was hard to do and we had to play we had to dig in deep and whatever, and not see our best football this season, it puts us in this, like, now we know if we have to in Europe come up against a team that has done it before and just play, like, dig deep, we can. So again, that's important to our heritage. So, but at the time, and right, so moving on to this season, when we started hitting that run of form, my main thing was, I know what this team can do, right? I always say, I don't fear, when people say, do you fear this? Do you fear that? No, I fear City not being the best City, because I know City not being the best City could lose to anyone, right? I don't disrespect any team in the Premier League enough to say a shit City could beat them, right? A shit City cannot beat every team in the Premier League. A shit City could lose to every team in the Premier League, right? Yeah. So when you see a group of players that you know can perform to a certain level not performing, I'll be critical of it. And I was just a bit like, I'm not saying that if I see a run of form that we won't win the league. But what I am saying is we can't just presume that run of form will kick in, yeah?
Yeah, like, yeah. You can't count your chickens before they hatch. It's
and it seems like and it's got to that point now where, look, there's validity to it. Mancini season we had to dig deep. Pellegrini season we had to dig dig deep. It's not just a Pep thing. But then the Pep seasons we've done it. But
Liverpool.
I don't know. I don't ever want that to become a thing where the fan base and the players believe it so much that they go, don't worry about
it's the fine line in sports.
confidence
Arrogance
and confidence.
Confidence,
Yeah.
yes. Arrogance,
Spot
confidence. You
And
got to
that
get
was
it
all-
dead in the middle.
And that is all I was saying, that we can't just keep falling back on this. Like I could come on every single show when people try and slate City and go, yeah, but we know what we do business end of the season. But if it gets to March and we don't kick in, I look like a dickhead, right? And there is a thing called typical City. The younger fans are, and it's beautiful to see that the younger fans don't have it. But it is there in us older fans. It is there. I've spent more of my life with a shit team than I have a good team. So that is my go-to, is that, and like even this, so on this weekend, this game's huge, bro. This game for us, for me, is absolutely massive. Because yes, we're on a really good run of form, but we haven't really played anyone of substance, I'm going to say. No disrespect to the teams we've played.
Huddersfield, Fluminense, Sheffield
United. Everton. The Everton game was, we had to dig deep there. I think the Everton game for me was a turning point. We played well before, but we came back from the Club World Cup, back to reality, 1-0 down, and I'm thinking, oh shit, we came good. But now we have had a couple of games, but the key with this game in particular is, firstly, the games that follow afterwards are all very winnable. This game is against a Newcastle that I know we had a great run against you for years, but our last couple of results, you beat us in the Carabao, a 1-0 home win that was really well played by City, but Newcastle didn't turn up. We drew at, I think we beat you. I was there last year. Yeah, but 3-3. But ultimately, before that 3-3, we had, our run against you was mad. But I said before that, we're coming up against a different Newcastle now. This is a Newcastle that in particular want to prove themselves against big boys, right? And if you look at even this season, when you're playing Arsenal, you're stepping up. It's Newcastle they finished 4th last season. They want to announce themselves with the big boys. That's by, when you play the big boys, make a mark. And so we know, and it's St. James's Park furthermore, but also it's where the league is at the moment. Liverpool are looking a bit fragile without Salah and Trent.
Yeah.
Arsenal are looking fragile, and City have started a run. We have to take advantage of that. Like, I do think Liverpool could drop points maybe against Arsenal. I think Arsenal pick up form, but I actually want to play Arsenal and Liverpool against each other. Arsenal take points off Liverpool. That will help us.
And they will in 2 weeks. 2 weeks to go to Emirates. Yeah.
It's only relevant if we can keep our run going. And this is the test.
Yeah.
And some will say, I heard Lewis speak on it earlier, LB, say people are saying at the moment Newcastle aren't looking that great. They're right. But I'd agree. Newcastle and St. James's Park. Eddie Howe will turn it round. Despite me bantering him, you're not going to keep losing. And this is a game where I'm worried, bro. I'm worried because it's traveling up to Newcastle, 5:30 kickoff, which means all the Geordies been drinking like me all day.
Yeah.
It's a difficult game. Isaac, for me, is looking very good.
Alex Isak. Oh, my.
And you're not losing him, by the way. All this talk about this and that, he ain't going nowhere.
Right.
One thing people need to know about Arab owners, is pride, belief. Like, to sell him would be them basically. That would
giving up
pride. That would kill their pride, bro. Like, and he will be happy. Vinny spoke about players at City under Arab ownership. Right, Arabs care about customer service. They care about how people view them. Right, they will be treated like kings at Newcastle. They won't want to leave, right? And this is the start of a project. So all this talk of he will not want to leave, not a chance in hell. I also think Trippier is due to kick back into form soon. I don't believe that form's going to carry on.
So you just think he was out of form, basically?
Yeah. Oh, it's Trippier. Like, are we really going to start? Do you know what? I'm one of these people that even last year with Liverpool, with Fabinho, was like, he's tired, man. Like, if other players needed a rest, like I think Robertson is going to come back from injury and
set the world on fire.
Yes, he's just a lot of Liverpool players.
We can see it.
Bro, you can't. Fabinho is not of an age that all of a sudden loses the ability to play football. Trippier is not of that age yet. Yeah, you can't have a career like these players and all of a sudden look that bad. You're just tired and have a bad run of form. So Trippier will, and furthermore, even a Trippier in bad form has a pass on him that could fucking
a cross that could change the game. Yeah,
De Bruyne, Trent, these players can be in bad form, but one pass, they're difficult to drop because that one pass can change the whole game. And if
Foden has that in him too.
Foden, we'll get there with Foden, but I'm talking like Trippier's crossing ability and it's not very Trent level, but it's very fucking good. It's better than Reece James.
Yeah, you could argue that. Yeah,
I think Reece James's crossing ability is slightly getting overrated at the moment.
That guy's problem is being on the pitch first and foremost.
Oh, 1,000,000%. But I don't know if you've ever heard, like Chelsea fans say, when he's fit, he's as good as Trent. No, assist-wise, he's not. Yeah, defensively, I hear it. But people say he's got what Trent has got. No, he hasn't. Trent is not far off De Bruyne with his crossing ability. Reece James is a very good crosser, but Trent and De Bruyne are different fucking gravy. Like,
yes.
So.
No, definitely, bro. I guess the other thing I'd say about Reece James, he probably has the goals edge over Trent. But then again, Trent can
set pieces up. Trent's got set pieces.
Yeah, he does.
And now I feel like Trent. I like Reece James, by the way. I did too. I was like, I beg we get him over when Walker goes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for him, I've been saying it for a while. You don't mind if we talk other teams? I know you love football anyway.
Yeah,
with Reece James, I always compare him to Micah Richards because injury-wise, because Micah Richards was so damn good, right? But if you're a midfielder or pretty much any other position, you float around the pitch, right? You sprint sometimes, but you float. If you're a fullback that goes forward, you don't float, you drive, yeah? Now, if you're top heavy, like Richards and Reece James, they're quite big lads, all that weight sprinting on the rest of your leg is not good.
I've heard people compare Reece James' body. He's kind of like a boxer.
Yeah, like exactly. Look at Micah Richards. Now he's not playing football. Look how big he is, yeah? I have no doubt when Reece James gets older, he'll probably get like that. And when you've got all that weight on you as a fullback, and fullbacks for me are maybe the most difficult and the most physical positions on the pitch, because the sprinting you have to do if you're going forward, if you sit at the back and just don't go forward, fine. But if you're going forward and you're sprinting and putting all of that weight on your calves, your hamstrings, everything, it could leave. And this is where I actually think his personal trainer or someone at Chelsea and at City with Michael Richards should be saying, you know, everyone says about missing leg day. Yeah, if you want to get big. No, don't miss leg day. Miss every other day. Don't do anything on your top half because you're getting too damn big. And that's where Reece James is just, but I think Trippier's delivery is from the fullback position is second to only Trent. And we saw that season before last when he first joined you, came in and just was unreal. And you don't lose that. The one thing you really can't lose is the pass.
Facts.
You know, like if you go and watch any ex-footballer,
Ronaldinho could still kick a ball around with beauty.
You don't lose that. That's why a lot of players drop deeper because they can control the game by spraying balls left, right, and center.
NFL quarterbacks, years after they retire, can still throw the ball.
Exactly. And throw the ball. Always have that in him.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is Livramento's an absolute baller as well. And I think if I was Eddie, I'd be like, because the last game he cooked us.
He's had some good performances this year.
The City one,
happy with
the Carabao goal was unreal performance. And I'd be looking at that going,
So you'd rather see Dan Burn at left back then?
Oh, hell yeah. All day long. Dan Burn, whereas Livramento's, I was a bit
Dynamic.
when you bought him, I was a bit like,
A lot of our fans were, to be fair. There was a concern with the injuries.
And who he played for, but now, and how old is he?
22.
Max,
22
he might be
years
younger
old.
than that,
21.
Yeah.
21.
Right. There we go. The other day, a young Liverpool fullback came on. Right. He's the same age, bro. He's the same age. And that's why, I don't know if you've seen any shows, but people are going, you'll remember his name. I was going, everyone calm down. He's 21 years old, right?
Right.
Livramento, look what Livramento's doing. He's 21. So let's not remember Bradley. Let's remember Livramento. These players do you know what I mean? Who's been doing it for several seasons in the Premier League, had an injury, but doing it week in, week out when he plays. Not Bradley, who came on and looked okay for a youth prospect that's actually 21. That's not a youth prospect.
Yeah. And Livramento played very well.
Livramento's a youth prospect. He's been good most games he's played in. I've seen him in quite a few teams of the season so far.
Wow. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he's super promising. And another guy that's super promising, another positive out of the whole injury thing that we've got is Lewis Miley. Miley looks like there was the only poor game I can remember, and it was just a sub appearance, was the Sunderland game. That was about it. All the other games, he's looked the part. He looks like he belongs.
Was he poor that game?
He just wasn't. He wasn't.
He came on quite late.
Did he? Nah, I think he. Hold on, I'll look.
I remember that game.
He came on halftime for Joe Wellington. He came on halftime for Joe Wellington.
Was it halftime?
Yes.
Right, fair enough. I was wrong on that, but I don't think he had a bad game. He just didn't look like What I've seen of him, and I don't watch every Newcastle game. What I've seen of him so far is he looks as at home in that team as some of your more proven players.
Oh yeah, for 17-year-old just walking, yeah.
And whereas the Sunderland game, it was all right. He didn't have a standout performance. I'm not here going, that was a blooper from him. That was minging. Like he just had a, maybe 6, 7 out of 10 game.
Right.
I find 6 disrespectful when people give people 6s. I think 7's an average. I think people are harsh with their ratings. When I see 6s, I think that's harsh, man. But he looks cold, bro. He looks very. And is he a local?
Yes.
That's what you need as well. Before the
Newcastle, we haven't had an academy breakout player like that. I mean, I like Longstaff. I like Sean Longstaff. I think there's a ceiling to him.
Yeah.
That was a good academy.
It's good to have one before the academy, though. Before your new academy.
Miley looks like what Longstaff did 4 years ago when Man United were rumored to buy him for 15 mil. He looks like that. So I'm very, very happy with Miley.
It's funny because when we first got taken over, obviously any players that were young around that era will not get credited to our academy because it was before our new academy. But
Trippier was, right?
Bro, you know what? There's quite a few players in the Premier League that I'm still finding out about. Like, I saw one the other day. Who was it? There was one the other day, and I saw him in a City shirt. I was like, huh? You know that Tosin at Fulham? He's a City academy. I remember him.
Yeah,
he's City, but he's more recent. But there was one, I swear it's Frimpong.
Yes, Jeremy Frimpong was at your youth academy, went to Celtic on a cheap, and then went to Bayer Leverkusen. He's playing.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Even Jason Denier, who ended up.
Denier was at Lyon.
There's been who knocked us out of the Champions League.
Yeah. Hey, what you were talking about City doing City things against Lyon. That was one of them.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's been a lot, but it's like that Miley has come through from your old academy.
Yeah.
Your new academy, and this is the thing. I can't even gas up your new academy because you won't see it for
10 years.
10 years, realistically.
And that's fine. And that's fine because it was at ground zero. It was at ground zero.
Same as City. Exactly the same as City. City actually generated some good players with a shit academy. We did generate quite a few good players with a shit academy. Whereas now, the players that are coming out of there, And it's just the mentality thing. And this is everything I see at City, I know will happen at Newcastle. I know, because I know the way Arab owners work. They have pride in everything. Like in a hotel in most countries, if you had an option of light switches, they'll go for the cheap one. Not Arabs. They'll go, give me the best one, right? And that is it. And it's the mentality as well. It's just different gravy. Like, have you seen that thing that's in our training ground? Doku was walking past it.
Your training ground is...
So it came out yesterday. There's a video of Doku on City Do This YouTube channel. Well, City YouTube channel have like updates of like they have videos of training in the week and whatever. And Doku's just walking somewhere in the training ground. He walks past this wall, and on the wall it says, "No team in Premier League history has won 4 Premier Leagues in a row."
That's motivation right there.
Yet in bold. And it's like, that is like everyone says, how's Pep going to motivate the players? That's how he's reminding them, like, oh, you think we've completed football? We have not completed football yet. Like, there's more a lot of stuff we need to do. Bro, you can never complete football because one day Pep will go. One day these players will go. We need to leave a record that everyone's going, we ain't fucking ever catching that.
The Chelsea defense, the Chelsea goals conceded record. I struggle.
What about now? Can you remember at the start of the season, because we had 1 or 2 good games, everyone was saying City were going to beat that record?
Yeah.
Now look at the amount of goals. Well, we conceded 7 against Tottenham and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Our defense is minging this season, by the way. Minging.
Now, that's to bounce off that one. Yeah, so to bounce off of that, my boy Minerals was asking about, is Walker on the decline?
Right.
Is he part of this defensive problems that you're seeing?
Right. I'll speak on Walker as a whole.
Sure. Go for it.
Walker joined Manchester City after Pep's first season. Walker had no trophies under his name.
Yeah.
Pep at Manchester City had no trophies under his name. Kyle Walker now has 17. Every trophy Pep has won, Walker has been there, right? Every trophy Pep has won, Walker has been there. Walker has been a senior player at City for quite a few years, right? He is pivotal off the pitch with the players, especially the England players. Like he seems like the father figure of Foden. Stones looks up to him. Phillips now, players look up to him, right?
Yeah, definitely.
His mentality is elite. Mm-hmm. When he first joined us, there was this thing called and Big Steve created Sharks. However, actually, if you go back to Pep's second season, Shark Gang was a thing that Walker, Mendy, and a few of the other players created.
Yes, Mendy. Yes, I remember that. I remember that.
And Walker was part of it, and they changed the whole team spirit at Manchester City. Now, Kyle Walker, off the pitch, last season Champions League final, as Pep does his speech, then the captain speaks. But Pep told Gundogan, give Walker 2 minutes because he's not playing today. And Walker gave a little speech saying, boys, last time we were here, we didn't win it. I can't retire from football without them big ears. Go out there and win it for me. Yeah. And it was like, because he's part of the 5 seniors at City and he has a role in that. But what I've realized is so far this season, I've been very critical of him. Last season going forward, Walker was shit. This season going forward, Walker's played a part, but defensively, I don't feel he's been good enough. And I also feel as a captain, second game of the season, Sheffield United away, Sheffield United's goal, Walker was off the pitch like sulking because he'd missed it. And that
that's Walker's boyhood club, right?
Yeah. For me as a captain, get up and get back on the pitch because you could close the man down, right? And then the Arsenal game, he lost his head, right? And he said 1 or 2 things that I think a little arrogant, bro. That's not how Gundogan wouldn't have done that. Ferner wouldn't have done that. Vinny wouldn't have done that. And I think, I don't know if he's captain material. Right. However, the last few games he's stepped up defensively. We cannot deny the pace is massive. Yeah. Last season, Pep said he doesn't suit the system we're playing currently, but I will need him. When we have Vinicius Jr., Walker got called up, locked him off, right? He's an insurance policy and he's got a mentality. I actually feel like when you have multiple captains, the beauty of that is you have multiple roles and they will play theirs. I don't think Walker necessarily by himself is a great captain, but as a unit, now De Bruyne's back and a few other players are back. He can be the arrogant one. Me personally, I don't like an arrogant approach. And Walker at times seems a little bit arrogant, but performance-wise, he's stepping it up a bit. I kind of like what Walker's done the last 2 or 3 seasons, because when there was this Reece James Trent conversation for years, I thought, why is everyone ignoring the one man that neither of them are starting for England over, right? Is winning trophies season in, season out, goes forward well as part of a system. He's not a better crosser than either, but as part of a system, it's very important. He scrambles defenses with his little runs, right? He's very almost underrated because he's not generational, and them two maybe people will see as generational, but he's seasoned. He's done it, been there, done it, won everything, and is now captain of a team that's winning everything. So, but I do get why people will look at him and go, is he dropping off? Look, that happens. He's not losing his pace yet, which is mad.
He's 33.
Yeah, his pace is insane. Like,
yes.
And he's one that his recovery time from injuries is great because he doesn't like I think it's that West Indian in him. Like their physique is just very, very good, very good. Raheem Sterling's one. Very, very, yeah. Like Pep said once, they can come back from a summer break and they're ready to go. Their fitness is just like. But now Walker's special, man. It's hard because I've been critical of him this year. He's probably one of the players I would be critical of the most, but maybe that's because he's captain, and at times the captain needs to draw on the mentality of players, and maybe he hasn't done that. But
who's been your player of the season so far? In your opinion?
I saw all of Big Six's teams of the season, right? And right, apart from Grizz and Saeed, coincidentally, Liverpool fan and Man United fan didn't put any City players in team of the season. And obviously straight away I'm like, we're third while winning other trophies and no players in. But I get it because it's a system thing. Quite a few put Rodri in. I'm not sure about that.
He's been a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
That's because we have to add it in there. We expect so much of him because he's done it.
Well,
so
it's
him being shaky is still a good
It's one of them ones where, put it this way, at the Sheffield United game, there was a really bad pass, and I looked at the guy next to me and goes, who was that? And I go, fucking hell, it's Rodri. He goes, he's allowed to do that. I go, yeah, you're right. And it's one of them ones where it's like, do you know what? But there's been a few games where Rodri's passing has been off. And it made me think a few times that, you know what, however good, Rodri's elite, right? For me, and people will say Rice, maybe Rice is a bit tired. Rodri's like 4 or 5 seasons of being elite for City and Spain, taking no breaks, and his excuse is not burnt out, right? So he keeps going. He's elite. But the same way that the team needs Rodri, it made me think, does Rodri miss Stones next to him? Is Rodri at his best when he's got... Do you know what I mean? Like, we need Rodri, but does Rodri also need the confidence of knowing if I go forward, I've got John to cover me. And if John goes forward, I'll cover him. Whereas if it's Akanji next to him, it's like, Akanji's not quite as good as Stones, maybe I should... Do you know what I mean? The perfect machine needs every cog. And although we need Rodri needs the cogs around him as well. You put Rodri in fucking Huddersfield, they're not going to win the Premier League. Right. So, but for me, for that reason, I don't think Rodri should be in team of the season. And
Bernardo Silva?
Bernardo's, and then this is where I get to a point of, actually, do I agree with Grizz and Saeed and actually think, do you know what? The best is yet to come from City at the moment. There's been games where Rodri stepped up, games where Bernardo stepped up, games where this player stepped up. Who's been, for me, Foden. Like, Foden has, from the start of the season, if people were to go back, and people don't want to, there's this thing, I know Arsenal's fan base is bigger, and they want to knock him. Liverpool will want to knock him out. The 3 biggest fan bases in the Premier League want to knock everything to do with Phil Foden, right? But if I go back and look at consistency across the season, why I think Ake was one of our best players last season, It's all season, not the business end, all season, right? Yeah. I look at Foden and think he's been cooking this whole season without De Bruyne, right? And still not playing in his preferred position. Now he's playing in his preferred position. He is fucking cooking, bro. Like to a point where he is stepping up like the man that we all knew he would be. And Arsenal fans saying, oh, he's never steps up for City because he didn't have to. But now that Everton game where we were not breaking them down.
It was a Phil Foden show.
And once he scored, the last 20 minutes, he looked like he was literally back on a school playground, kicking ball, enjoying it. Like
ridiculous.
It's one of them things where it does get to a point with players, yeah, where you think, we've heard your name for the last 10 years. If you really follow football, you've heard Foden's name for probably, actually, he's 23, maybe the last 8 years, we've heard Foden's name. Whether it be for England schoolboys or whatever, you've heard about this kid coming up through Manchester City.
Especially Guardiola saying he's the most talented player he's ever worked with. Young player.
He's captained England schoolboys through most age groups, yeah. He won the World Cup with England schoolboys.
Yeah.
I remember his debut in America on tour and just why is this 16-year-old asking for the ball constantly, right? And, you know, and sometimes you think, wow, maybe he's being gassed up. But sometimes there is a reason why someone is gassed up that much. And just because he's being managed by his manager, right, to make sure, like, I remember when we won the league about 2 years ago, Pep came out in the summer and said, now managing Foden becomes difficult because until now, he was happy being a bit part player. But now Phil's coming of age and I have to manage him now. And I always say, I feel like Pep sees Foden as, like, he can't see players like De Bruyne as his son. Like, he joined at a certain age or players that were at City already. He's seen Foden from the academy. And so he's harsher on him. He will be harsher on him because he's like, I will be harsher on my daughter than I will my daughter's friend. Right? A lot harsher.
Of course.
And
you want the best for both, but I get it.
Yeah. And that's where I think he's managed Foden perfectly. But now, and this is why tomorrow, this is relevant to tomorrow. This is why tomorrow I do not believe Kevin De Bruyne will start. Right?
Yeah, Foden will.
Foden will. If he starts Kevin De Bruyne tomorrow, it's saying, thanks, Phil. You've done a great job in central midfield. But now we're going to find you're either going to be on the bench or we're going to push you wide again because Kev's back, right? Foden's whole, you know, he's cooking right now. He's about to get that power up. And if you take that away from him, it drops. Also, it tells everyone else, City rely on De Bruyne. Also, you're putting Kevin De Bruyne under pressure when he's still getting back. And, bro, that comment below, I'm happy about, right?
About Joelinton. This is,
But you still have Bruno on the pitch. Now, in Bruno, and I posted something on Twitter earlier, a picture of Darth Vader and the Emperor, yeah? Dark Arts, right? Right now, Joe Linton and
Bruno Guimaraes
are kings of the dark arts, right? They're dirty bastards, right? I'm a fan of it. Big fan of it, bro. It's one of the most and someone on Talk Sport was saying about maybe like people that commit fouls round the middle of the park should actually get stricter punishment because they're still stopping. And it's like, no, that's fucking football, bro. That is you know what? In ice hockey, you're allowed to have a punch up, right?
Yeah.
Don't change it because that's part of ice hockey. Yeah. The dark arts is an art of football to know if it goes into the next quarter of the pitch, I'm getting a yellow and it's a free kick in a dangerous area. If I just pull a shirt here or it's good. So I'm a fan of it, but
same.
They get away with it right now, big time. In a
couple my God.
I was get away with it, bro. They will not.
Oh my God.
Man, on to Rodri now. Rodri learned off of Fernandinho. He was the best at it. But in a cup, Bruno as well gets away with it so much because Bruno is a flary fucker with blonde hair. And Joe Linton's got blonde hair. These two, they've both got dyed hair. They can't be nasty. Oh, bro. And I don't want
illusion. It's an illusion.
Oh, it's clever.
Yeah, it's
clever as hell, bro. You know that man. You know, if a girl says, "My friend," and like they've got that one male friend, and everyone just presumes the girl is safe around that male friend because if he's got that many female friends, he might be homosexual.
Trustworthy. Oh, yeah.
Nah, bro, my man's just got fucking game, yeah. He's invited to every sleepover. Their show. Does my bum look big in this? He's there going, like, these men are floating around with blonde hair, getting away with murder, right? And I rate it, massively rate it, even more so with Bruno, because he's a baller as well, yeah. But
yes,
I don't want Kevin De Bruyne on the pitch with Joe Linton, right?
Coming off an injury, yeah. Just coming back
whole
from an
90
injury.
minutes, oh, but it's good. That is what Newcastle are about. Like,
yeah.
That's why Newcastle will go far, because they understand you can't get a load of money, go and buy a load of Robinhos and get to that level. You have to be rugged in this league. You have to have your Longstaffs, right? We have Barry, we have Milner, right? These players that their fridges were probably stacked with healthy food and whatever, yeah, and they're true professionals, and they get the club and they get the Premier League. Newcastle are keeping level-headed like that. And this is where I look at your midfield and go, that is like your midfield and Isaac. Like
Botman's a big part of it too. I think Botman. Personally, I think he's been a bit shaky
this season. Do you think that's slightly because last season he was so damn good?
Yeah, I mean, like we said about Rodri, he set the standards so high.
Yeah, and Botman's had injuries. Botman's had injuries this season as well.
Botman was out for 3 months.
There's a big argument for him in Team of the Season last year for me. Big argument.
He was like, for sure.
First season in the Premier League.
Anthony Gordon's another one who does the dark cards. He's another one of them.
So Anthony Gordon is one that I've had to change. I've completely done a 180 on him. So
same.
When he left Everton, I presumed he was an Everton fan, right?
Liverpool.
And for me, if you're a fan of a football club and they're in a relegation battle, you never leave midway through the battle, right? And he left midway. And I was like, it even confused me to the point where I thought that the team spirit Eddie Howe is creating to go and get someone that would turn his back on his childhood club and then this season started, he started cooking, and I was thinking, I kind of slyly like this kid, but I don't want to because he's a snake. Yeah. Then someone said he's a Liverpool fan. I was like, oh, fuck the snake shit. Yeah, he's cold.
Yeah.
And he feels like a Geordie.
Yes, he has embraced it, and we've embraced him. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street.
He's good. He's very someone said to me how much Newcastle are missing Harvey Barnes, and I said maybe for giving Gordon a rest, but that's it. Because for me, Gordon was like Gordon over Harvey Barnes all day. I know Mo. Hold tight, Mo. By the way, anyone that thinks me and Mo are not cool, hold tight, Mo. I still love you, right? He was a very, very big Harvey Barnes fan. Very big.
I am too, to be fair.
But Gordon is different. Gordon.
You know what it is, though. You know what it is. The reason why I say Harvey Barnes, I'm a fan of his, because if whenever the hell Barnes comes back, I didn't know a toe injury took this fucking long to recover, but you put him on the left, Gordon on the right for Almiron, there we go. Because Gordon is showed.
See that though, did we? We haven't seen that yet though.
Exactly, because Barnes has only played six games.
The only thing I would say with that is
because Gordon
they do play a bit different. They do play a bit different because you can't have two wingers that play the same. But I feel like they. Do you know what? They're both pretty young still. I know Gordon's young. Harvey Barnes maybe a little older, but not much.
24.
Yeah, they've both got that potential that they could.
He's a good finisher. Or 26, sorry, Barnes.
With Harvey Barnes, he needs to get back fit quick because with the one thing with this Newcastle team is you ain't got time. You do not have time to
talk about.
We had a player called Michael Johnson, right? When we first got money. Before his injury, he was like levels above Stephen Ireland, levels above him as a central midfielder. He got injured just as we got money. He came back a year later from an injury and got injured again, out for a long. And if you imagine you're at a club and you see this club growing, club expectations growing, more players coming in, you're missing your chance. So Harvey Barnes, I feel he needs to get back to and that will help you because you look knackered, bro. Every game I watch of you, like I just think you look like you just look knackered. Hi, Cass.
That's the only optimism that I have going into the game tomorrow. Two things: we're at home. At home,
yeah, that's big.
Give anyone a game. If it was at the Etihad, I'd resign immediately to a defeat. I'm trying to think away.
How you played in that first game at the Etihad was weird as well.
It was, yeah.
You just come off the back of a big win. We were like 2 days after a very hot Super Cup final, and I was worried. I got back from Seville, went up to Manchester, and was like thinking, I'm knackered. These players must be dead. And you lot, I honestly thought this is going to be a hard game. We had a few injuries as well. I think Bernardo was out, or maybe he just came back for that. We had quite a few injuries, and you lot just forgot about attacking. Literally, like it's like Newcastle came with their tails between their legs and thought, let's just get a 0-0 and go. And it was like
Steve Bruce.
Yeah, and it was almost like to City. Yeah. Well, we're good with that because once we get one goal, we're more than happy to kick back because we're tired. So, so Haaland news. Haaland. So Haaland's been pictured back in training. Yeah, with De Bruyne. So he's back in training. But I heard LB talk earlier when Haaland got the injury. LB looked into it, and apparently it was an 8-week injury, right? And we're not 8 weeks in yet. But because we've seen him back in training, we're going, oh, Haaland's back. But Pep's come out today and said, no, he's still not ready yet. He's still a bit uncomfortable. He's training, but he's a bit uncomfortable. And I think this is one of them ones where the type of injury it is, if we were to risk playing him, it could become a lot bigger. So I think City are just like, and do you know what? And if we're being truthful, our best run of form this season is at the moment without Haaland. Now, I'm not one of the people here going, we're better without Haaland.
Better without Haaland. Yeah.
We've got De Bruyne coming back. De Bruyne and Haaland, there's nothing better. But against a Newcastle team that I think we have to win the middle of the park, right?
Of course. Especially because we're undermanned in that. It'll be I guarantee you, it'll be a midfield three of Longstaff, Bruno G, Miley. Guaranteed.
Which is just so we have to. So for me, I'm looking at it going, I'm not mad at no Haaland. Like, I don't think, and your defense is good. So I don't think Haaland's going to have that much space to run into because you're very organized. So I'm like, all right, that's cool for me. I would much rather we do this than we rush him back and then all of a sudden, because after this game is the difficult one. Then we've got a nice easy run. Later in the season, we've got to play Tottenham away, Liverpool away, Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, Villa.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Jeez.
Then we're going to need Haaland. So I'm like, this game right now, I'm cool with how it is. And furthermore, do you know what? If we can't win a league, if we can't win games without Haaland, we're not good enough to win them anyway. So it's fine.
Because a one-man team that don't work in sports. It don't work in sports. A one-man team. No. Rarely.
Can I just say, right, your keeper. So your keeper, was it last game or the game before where he actually turned up a bit?
Liverpool, he made 12 saves, I think. It was
something outrageous. Because before that, he was looking dodgy, wasn't he? Looking a bit shaky.
Spurs and Everton, he was awful. Oh my God.
But I feel we have to test him. We have to be testing him.
Of course.
And do you know what? This game for me as well. So with De Bruyne, I don't think he will start. I think Pep's saying we have to manage his game time, slowly bring him in. He looked good last game, but I think where we are at the moment, we're at an advantage in the fact that De Bruyne looked good the other day. He looked like he can come on and he can offer something off the bench. But we're also in a good place where we shouldn't need to rest him. Now, it would be great to play you without De Bruyne, knowing if it gets to the 60th minute and whether we be behind or whether it be 0-0, because nothing but 3 points. We can't, where we are right now in the league, we need 3 points. But knowing if it gets to a point where the game's a bit stretched, we haven't got 3 points yet.
Yeah.
Bring De Bruyne on. and let him start testing your goalkeeper.
Oh.
And this is where, for me, De Bruyne this season, right now, with where we are and how we're performing at the moment, I would say, don't start De Bruyne for a minute. Like, what's the point? If
you have Foden in form, keep it moving.
Oh, let it cook.
Yeah.
And if it gets to the 45th, 55th, 60th minute, bring De Bruyne on, right? That is a great fucking place to be. Because
hell of a sub.
I've seen it, bro. Right. I've seen Pep rush De Bruyne back. And I've seen Pep where he goes, no, I trust my players. We won the league against Liverpool in one of our toughest leagues.
With De Bruyne out for a lot of it.
Well, De Bruyne came back just in time for the Liverpool game at the Etihad, and Pep.
You spanked them, right?
The Leroy Sané and Aguero goals, the Leroy Sané goal, right? Yes. De Bruyne was on the bench, and everyone was convinced he was starting. I said, I hope Pep doesn't, because it tells the whole Premier League to beat Liverpool, we need De Bruyne. He rested him, right? And we won without him. That to me is a message to the whole Premier League. We don't need De Bruyne. He's a bonus. Like the minute you rely on him, if we tell everyone, you all know our pants are down for everyone to see. We need Rodri. Yeah, I can't deny. I can't come on here and tell you we don't need Rodri. The whole world knows we need Rodri.
Stones, we're just talking about it too, and Stones needs Rodri as well.
Oh, Stones is like these games right now. I can't scream. Wait till Stones gets back, because after 2 games he'll be injured again. Like, at the moment, the whole world knows City's frailties. Yeah. Right now we're cooking without De Bruyne. Do we want to show everyone else? Oh, by the way, actually we do need De Bruyne to win a league. I don't want to show no one that. Let's keep that back there and have De Bruyne come on, play cameos.
Game of poker.
In there. What are you cooking? What's that from yesterday? Nice.
It's like a game of poker. You don't want to show your hand.
No, don't. So I was just having Cass's just come to get food. Yeah, it is. I really do think. Look, this Premier League thing is a mentality thing. People play it down. It's a mentality thing. I think one of the best thing that Pep has got is knowing how to, and Eddie Howe's quite good at it so far, knowing how to manage the media. Like, Pep's great at it. He just don't rise to it. Eric Cantona was the king of it.
Yeah.
Eric Cantona told the press about fish following trailers, right? Because he didn't want to speak to the press. The press were asking him dumb questions. He said one thing, the whole world's going, what did he mean by that? And coming up with their narratives. And then 20 years later, he says, I meant nothing. I just didn't want to talk to him. Right?
Or Bielsa using the translator and said he can speak English. But
Aguero, Richards came out and said Aguero can speak perfect English, yeah? But used to just go, I not speak English. And it goes on. It's the best thing to do. It's Arteta coming out and telling people, this player's fit, this player's injured. When they're not fit, they're not injured. Or why do people come out the day before the game and say, these are the players that are fit, these are the players that are injured, and this is a likely team I'm going to play? I've never understood. I've gone through rule books thinking, why are these managers giving people information before? You'd never see, I'm going to list some mad ones here, but Napoleon, Hitler, Churchill, any successful to an extent warlords.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is how we're going to attack you, right? So the fact that Arteta comes out and says a player's injured when he's actually fit, or says a player's fit when he's actually injured, it makes sense. I've never understood why people go, this is how we're going to play. So it's playing all these arts. And I think Eddie Howe's quite good at it. I think Eddie Howe having Jason Tindall is sensational. Yeah. He never gets drawn into any of that. In fact, he has once or twice, but rarely, because that's Jason Tindall's role.
Yeah. It's like a what's it called? The human body shield kind of thing.
But right, sorry, this is a mad thing, but in England, you will often find, right, a drug dealer, and then next to him will be the man with the bag. Right? The man with the bag's very quiet, doesn't speak to no one, right? But if there's action, he's there.
Yeah. Why is there?
That's why Jason Tindall's there. He's there to make sure that Eddie Howe's focus is on the game constantly. He's not being drawn into Klopp in the assistant's ear all the time, or any of that, because that is Klopp doing what Klopp does. I hate it, but
that's his thing.
All these mind games, like coming out and moaning about looking at the watch and whatever, you're getting in the man, like you get decisions by doing these things. It's the same as the dark arts. And I think Eddie Howe having Jason Tyndall is great. Like, you need these people. And I bet Jason Tyndall around your players is one of the most likable people. Bro,
he's been there for a while too. So it's established relationship already there. Yeah.
So at Manchester City, we've got a boot man. If you've ever seen a clip of, people say it's Pep, but a bald guy, when we've won trophies, skidding along the floor in Y-fronts, in pants, in the dressing room afterwards. Like, it's our kit man, right? Our kit man who got the job as an apprentice and now's like De Bruyne's best friend, right?
He's Scott Carson with Ederson kind of
Carson. These people around the club are important. And Scott Tyndall, people knock it, but it's like, no, that is doing its job at Newcastle. And Newcastle, and do you know what? It helps keep Newcastle grounded to where they came. It's your Newcastle.
Dummett and Lascelles, those are other two guys too.
Bro. You're staying very grounded at the moment. Just on your club, though. Yeah. Are you? Let me ask you. I was thinking this earlier on. So I'm seeing that apparently you have to, and I even saw it on Arsenal. I think you have to sell players to fit in with the rules and whatever. Do you look at it and get a bit frustrated at kind of the fact that City, I'm going to say, got away with it? We certainly haven't got away with it. We've been slandered for it constantly,
innocent until proven guilty, bro. That's
listen, I've been this knobhead on Twitter has been atting me all day long. I think he supports United. He's got no face. He's got no name. He won't me, calling me cheats and whatever. And I'm like, bro, I've said a million times, when it happens, I'll address it. Until then, but I do. There's a point in me today where I was looking at it, going, do you know what? Fair fucking play to Newcastle. That unfortunately they're doing their fucking best. Their absolute best. And I have no doubt that there's an element of your owners let's go back to when your owners first took over and the slander on them because they're Muslim, right? That's it. Because they're Muslim, they're murderers, they're whatever, right? And because of that, and sorry, I'm going to be a bit political here, but people will.
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
People that support any other club apart from City or Newcastle, right? Will have Free Palestine in their flag and will tell you that the Western media is absolutely fucked. Now, first and foremost, Free Palestine, and I agree with you, the Western media is absolutely fucked against Muslims, right? Listen, I'm saying that. If you have an issue with that, no problem. I'm saying that as an English white man, right?
I'm saying that as an American. It's the same thing.
There we go, bro. Right. But then those same people that will complain about the English media, rightly so, will then not realise that the English media is also playing a narrative against Newcastle and Manchester City. And ultimately, it's for the same reason. The Arab world, Muslims and money, and the Western world, Americans and English, not liking them man getting involved in it. That is what all of it is around, right?
I don't think Manchester United got their Sheikh Jassim takeover because of that. Just imagine if you're one of these. Just imagine if you're one of these politicians or you're one of these people in the UK, and you don't really Muslims touchy whatever, right?
100%.
You can't have the biggest club in England owned by Muslims.
And do you know what?
Government official.
Fair, he was enough. So I'm actually saying I feel like the Western world, in all forms of life, including football, including everything, do not want other areas building up their business portfolio in an area that they're not in, right? Let's be real. One day, Saudi, Qatar, Dubai, Abu Dhabi will run out of oil money, right?
Yes.
And what they're doing right now is building up their business portfolio elsewhere, right? That's what they're doing. It's very clever. It's business,
F1, football, golf.
And the Western world don't like it, right? But people, if you want to go with that narrative, have that narrative. Don't then be naive to go, well, the media are telling us that City are cheats and Newcastle will be cheats and they're murderers. Well, what are we doing here? What? Because you support United, Chelsea, Arsenal, whatever else, you're now believing that, but you don't want to believe it when you want to support it. Support the narrative.
Convenience of morals. And by the way, nobody talks. Why are the Newcastle women, who are currently in the 4th division, pushing for promotion to the 3rd? Why are they getting paid like professionals? Why is a shitload of money from Saudis been dumped into the women's team where FFP doesn't apply? Why?
These are all the things. Like, let's look at Qatar as a World Cup. Yeah. Sensational for the fans. Now, Steve, Imran, a few of them, Mike, Eddie, Jensen, all just got back from the Club World Cup in Saudi, and they've all told me like there is a reason why these places get, like, people will say, "Oh, it's money." There's other reasons why these places get World Cups and whatever. They love the game. They fucking love the game, right? Are we saying only certain people are allowed to love the game? They love the game to a point where over here, it's absolute shithousery. There's violence and whatever else, yeah? Over there, they just love the game. Yes. And like, even to a point where they're like giving my friends tickets to games and saying, I just want to talk to you about football. I'll get you a ticket to the game because I've got a friend that can get. I just want to talk about football, yeah? And what we're saying, I get it. Maybe some pockets in the wrong places are being lined and it's not filtering through to the right places. However, these places deserve to get football as well because they're places that are untouched. They're places that we want this thing called football to grow, right? I want it to grow in America. I want it to grow everywhere.
It's the world's game already. Let's build.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody. Let's unite.
Yeah. Do you feel like Newcastle are being held a little bit like they're having to be cautious? One, because of the fact they're Saudi owned, but secondly, because of what's happened with City, they're having to tread so carefully because it's an even bigger spotlight on you. And like, you can't put, like, even this window. I've always said Newcastle, every window should be buying two to three players, right? And at the moment,
have every window, to be fair.
But this one, it looks difficult because of. And do you, like, I'm asking you as a City fan, and listen, I can't. I'm sorry, firstly, but do you feel sometimes like it's because of what's happened with City? We have to take our time more than City ever did.
Probably, and I'm not mad about it. I understand it. I understand it completely because of all those points, you know, and never mind, we haven't even touched into the FFP stuff lately. Like Nottingham Forest might be in some trouble. Everton got deducted 10 points.
And again.
And Everton might get some again. So we're
United get decided soon, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and Chelsea, there's that too, and you guys. So there's a lot of there's a lot of things going on domestically and with I understand it. I just
do you think it's do you think right? Here's another thing for you. I know we've gone over a bit and you need to go out, but here's another thing for you, right? So, do you understand this narrative? Because this is my narrative as a City fan, right? The Premier League got formed. Whoever the biggest clubs in the Premier League were when the Premier League got formed, automatically had an advantage, right?
Everton, Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Right. The biggest clubs
at the time. Big five.
The biggest clubs in a good position. So their squad needed less, which is fair, right? But the end of that season happens. The Champions League happens, right? Champions League is where you generate the most money. Also, where you finish in the league generates the most money.
Never mind the advertisements, the revenue.
All of that. Ultimately, the bigger you are as a club, the more likely you are to generate money, right? And that leads to a monopoly. And the monopoly led to being completely 100. The Glazers, the Crunkies, and what was FSG, Liverpool, earning the most money, right? Which means that transfer window, they can buy the best players, which means the next season, guess what? They generate the most money. Repeat and rinse, repeat and rinse, repeat and rinse. No one can catch up, right? It's very similar to, and in most walks of life, in most businesses, that is called a monopoly, right? You are not allowed a monopoly in the UK, right?
In the US?
Right. It's like, well, you have to give people fair opportunity, right? But in the football world, a fair opportunity would be, and in the business world, is that if I happen to be very wealthy and I saw on my high street Burger King and McDonald's in the Subway, and then John's Cafe. Now, John's Cafe, unfortunately, it's very dated. He hasn't got the supply chain that the others have got. He hasn't got the advertising that the others have got. He's got a bad reputation of just not delivering. So I go, do you know what? I'm filthy rich. And I have a business plan. And my business plan is that the first 3 years, I might make a loss, right? Mm-hmm. Most business plans involve making losses the first couple of years.
But, you have to put money into it. Exactly.
Yes. You have to make the place look nice, get a better supply chain. You have to do everything that a business has to build, right?
Hire people.
Catch up with the rest, because the rest have got a monopoly. You have to catch up with that, right? And then it gets to a point where you catch up to then you're at a point where your academy is generating more than you're spending.
Which is where you guys are at, yeah.
But you're still being critiqued. And it's like, when I was a kid, bro, no one spoke about any of this crap. It was about football. Because Manchester City, Newcastle, Chelsea have come alive and have ultimately said, do you know what? Let some other fans have a fucking go at celebrating. And now all the other fans want to cry and go, this is not fair. It's not fair. How was my childhood? How was my fucking child? My childhood was not fair, right? Because you had the monopoly then. Now that I've got it, you want to scream, it's not fair. Like, it wasn't fair when I was a kid. Why is it fair now? And I've always said, before we won any trophy, in fact, probably I said after we won the FA Cup, if our owners leave and they go and buy a different club and we go back to being an average team, then I will say, thank you for giving me a couple of years of being able to have a nice experience as a football fan. And do you know what? You've just gone and bought Notts County. Salute to all you Notts County lot that are about to experience the best couple of years of your life. Mm-hmm. But deep down, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United want to keep all that glory to themselves. They don't want no one else to. And this is the one that pisses me off when Arsenal fans, we deserve it more than anyone. Why?
They haven't earned it. They haven't earned it. They've got FA Cups, and that's great. I'd take FA Cups, but the league, you bottled that.
Look at loyal fans. Newcastle United, who are a loyal bunch of fans. Why do Arsenal fans deserve it more? Why? You live in the capital. You get paid more than anyone. Why do you deserve it more than Newcastle fans that have been loyal through thick and thin? We used to get called one of the most loyal fan bases, 32,000 in the third tier of English football. Now we're plastic, right?
Yeah.
And it's just narratives, bro. So for me, Newcastle, I like what they're doing. I will mock them at times.
That's cool. That's part of the game. Off. Part of the game, man. Yeah.
Like, because I'm looking at our come up, your come up, and going, unfortunately for Eddie Howe, he's Mark Hughes 2.0, but he's doing a better job than Mark Hughes ever did.
Wow.
He is. He is. And
Score prediction. Score prediction tomorrow.
Oh, can't do that.
I mean, if you don't want to, I'll throw my 2 cents out there.
Go on.
3-2 City, unfortunately.
I can't, because it's right. If I give a score prediction, I don't rate the team I'm playing.
What do you mean? What? Interesting.
If I give a score prediction, it's because I'm very confident. If I'm not confident going into this game, I'm not. I'm confident if we're the best City will win, but I can't, based on this season, I can't presume, because we've had 7 easy games, that now we're going to rock up to St James's Park at 5:30 on a Saturday and beat Newcastle. I rate Newcastle more than that, and I rate their fans more than that. So, I will take a fucking 1-0 Haaland's left bollock. I don't think it'll happen.
I can see that. Even though
the best outcome would be we go 1-0 down. Foden gets an equaliser, and then De Bruyne comes on, and De Bruyne scores the winner. That would be.
I can see
perfect.
that.
That would be perfect for me, and I'll just go with what I think would be perfect.
First, so 2-1.
I don't think it will happen.
It'll be a very close game, though. It will be a close game.
Question for you: do you think you'll get top 5?
No.
How do you feel about that?
This is what it is. FA Cup. FA Cup.
What, win it?
Bro, that's yes.
All right, so
I don't think we'll win it, because I just saw
if the players come back at the right time, you could win. Who you got in the next round?
Fulham away.
Oh, hard one.
It is.
You need your players back, man. Need your players back. But you can't rush them back. You want your players back fully fit. But if you were to win the FA Cup Or,
I
no,
don't
let's
care where
say
we finish in
right.
the league.
That's not
We're
fair.
gonna
Let's
get
say
messed up.
last season you reached the final of the Carabao. This season you reached the final of the FA Cup and you finish 7th. How are you feeling?
Gutted that we lost the final. 7th is what it is. But really, I think
So
there would be a lot of there. I mean, we get a new manager. I think.
you think it's a hard one because I'm saying if you don't finish in Champions League and you don't get to a final, you're going backwards. I understand it as a project; it's still cooking, but I
You
think
got to
if you
sign
reach
the project. Yeah, you got to.
if you reach a final, then you could say Eddie is still showing potential to be up there with the big boys and mix it for trophies, right? So it's next manager. Last question, then I'll let you go. I know it's your channel, but I'm sorry, I'm interviewing you now. Next Newcastle manager.
Question?
Next Newcastle manager.
Jose Mourinho.
See, I don't feel
Sign me up all day.
when you got Eddie and Eddie started cooking, said what will happen here is doing well, but he'll hit his ceiling. And I said Newcastle's owners, Newcastle's fan base will stick with him, they'll back him till he hits his ceiling. When he hits his ceiling, you'll have to, like we did with Hughes to a certain extent, when they hit their ceiling, you will go and get a pragmatic, bit more boring, but experienced manager. And I've always said Simeone because you man could afford him.
I would take Simeone too. Yes, 100%.
And he'd get on with your fan base. You'd love him. He's passionate. He'll get that rugged midfield going. Well, Simeone is carbon Newcastle United, and it's mad that Kendall supports Atletico in Newcastle. But and me and her have spoken it a few times. But I always think Simeone. But now Jose is there, where it could be, and I think Jose has unfinished business in the Premier League, big time.
And you give him money to play with.
If you man get.
He was Sir Bobby Robson's assistant as well back in the
Someone said that to me the other day. I was like, "Oh my god, this is cooking."
Mourinho has spoken about he's always fond of Newcastle and will.
Bobby Robson, I completely forgot that. Robson would have spoke about you, man. Yeah, and rest in peace, by the way, legend.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I just think with Jose right now, like we can remember Jose from his last days at Chelsea and his United career, when he was very drained, tired, and had become a little bit unlikable, right? Or we can remember the Jose before that, or we can remember the Jose now, right? That's rejuvenated and likable. We love him.
And that wants to be at Newcastle, that has spoken about it before.
He loves money. He's got a connection to Newcastle. And because of Chelsea, the way that ended didn't end well. Because of Man United, didn't end well.
Spurs, he never fucked with them.
Spurs treated him like absolute shit. He got absolutely slandered, but then the next manager got away with murder. I always say that. Like, bro, the owner turned his back on Jose and the fan base when they were in an FA Cup final. He said, nah, you can go because I want money. Like, from that point, it's so...
Back with the vengeance.
He could come back and go, and even Pep. Be like, you know what? Give me some dough and let me compete with this motherfucker. Like, bro, Jose and you lot would love him on the touchline.
Yes.
Like him and Newcastle he'd buy a house in Newcastle probably. He never bought a house in Manchester. I see the Jose thing, and the more that's going on at Roma, the more it's cooking, because Roma, they have no money, none.
The
only thing keeping him there is the fans love him.
And he loves them.
Yeah, 28,000 weekend. Is it 28,000? I think it is, or maybe even 38.
No. Stadio Olimpico holds 70. Stadio Olimpico in Rome is huge.
Sorry, it might be an increase. I saw something the other day to do with the number 28. Yeah, that it might be an increase of 28%. I don't know. There's something to do with 28.
Season tickets probably for Roma.
Under Jose, even though Roma are not performing well, it's still like, nah, this is Jose.
They're a cup team.
Yeah.
And what can Jose do? Let's say, because I argued this with Flawless on Sarcasm City all the time, and he doesn't argue it either. He just doesn't think of Jose. He don't think Jose's at the level of being a Champions League winner, a Premier League winner. But he always says he always says to me he could get Newcastle winning Conference League, Europa League,
all
FA
day
Cup,
long.
or League Cup. And
There's
that's
managers that just know how
and
to
we
win
haven't
stuff,
had a
bro.
trophy in 70 odd years since 55. So
Is that what it is? Oh, he is perfect for you. And it's mad that, look, I understand United fans, he managed them and whatever, but Jose, like, you can say he's not this, he's not that. He is. I'm sorry, he is. Like, Jose at his best. Jose at Man United, Jose at Chelsea's second time round, especially after the first season, was not the same Jose. He looked like, look, Pep had a sabbatical. Jose's never really had one. He had a brief one, and now he's back looking better. Like, for me, Jose is up there. 100% up there. Like, and I just think Newcastle will bring the best out of him.
And he would bring the best out of Newcastle.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Summer.
Apps. Thanks so much for joining, man.
Want to come on Never a Foul Sunday?
Huh?
Come on Never a Foul Sunday, yeah?
Cool. Oh, yeah. I'll message you about that. Word,
Yeah.
word. Appreciate it, man. But bro,
just give us 3 points. Who do you want to win the league?
I hate Aston Villa.
Oh, wow, that was your first one, was Aston Villa. Your first thought of winning the league.
They're up there right now, and it's getting a bit scary. So I wouldn't want them. I'd love you guys. Would be you guys.
One thing on Aston Villa is, remember the last game of the season at the Etihad, they were 2-0 up.
Gerrard bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, sometimes you need belief and mentality, and they won't have it. Yes. Same with Tottenham. Both looking great, but they won't have the mentality. So you want City to win it. So give us 3 points, and then you can have Calvin Phillips.
I'll decline respectfully, bro. Big up for coming on.
I appreciate you having me on massively.
Big up for coming on. I'll message you about going on Never Foul on Sunday. Big up, man. But
Love,
yeah,
man.
Thanks everybody in the chat for watching. Go head over to Sarcasm City. We're doing AFCON previews. It's gonna be lit. So, but again, Daps, thanks a bunch for joining me.
Whenever you need me, bro. If you ever have panel shows and whatever. Love.
Word. Peace out, guys.